And people always think too, like when I post that, they're like, it was such a great video and you're just a natural on camera. I'm like, you don't realize that I did that 15 times because I stuttered on my words. And that's the one that I chose to post. It still took me only 10 minutes, right? But it's like starting over.
Yeah.
And you get the one that I'm not like, mumbling my words and you can actually understand what I'm saying.
What's up, everyone? It's Cody here from Luminary Agent, and this is episode, I think it's 16 of the Luminary Agent podcast. I have not been good at doing this, by the way. But it's, but we're on track. I've got you. I'm doing another one on Monday. We're going to be like, raring to go after this, so it's going to be perfect. But I'm here today with Jerger from Academy Mortgage. And we are kind of both social media nerds, so we're just going to talk about cool social media stuff and talk about how realtors can use social media actually for their business and how it's not complicated.
It's super simple.
We were kind of mentioning before we actually started recording that I think that the technical aspect of social media is actually pretty easy because you just like get out your phone and do the thing. That's like not the hang up. People oftentimes aren't like, it's not that I don't know how to like post something on Instagram. It's that I don't know what to post on Instagram. Yeah, it's the content piece for sure. So I'm excited to dive into that with you a little bit. But first, I kind of want to know a little bit about you.
Yeah.
Like where are you from? Where did you grow up? And give me the last X number of years of your life in the 2 minutes.
I am from a really small town. So I grew up in actually Gates, Oregon. I tell everyone Sublimity, but I lived in Gates. So there were 495 people in my town.
Wow.
I had no neighbors. I grew up on 12 acres on the river and just was a little wild one in the woods.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
I went to Oregon State, and then mortgage was my first job out of college. I kind of fell into it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What did you get your degree in at Oregon State?
Sociology, and then I had a business minor and an applied visual arts minor. So I thought I would get into like social work or HR marketing, and here I am.
And
6-7 years later.
Real estate mortgage sucked you in.
You can't get out.
It's so true. It's funny. I got my real estate license here in Oregon last year after not having had one for 5 years, and I was like, damn real estate. It always comes back to get you.
Everyone that I've known that has tried to get out of the industry has always wound up back in.
Yeah.
Like you can't quit it. You just
It's super true. So your whole career's been in mortgage then.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done different sectors of it. So I've kind of done the whole life of the loan from the beginning and kind of junior underwriting. I've done the corporate side. I've done kind of the back end of the ops team and processing, and then sales and origination. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
all I know. I don't know what else I would be able to do at this point. That's the only skill set I have.
Well, that's good, because there are a lot of people that don't necessarily have a great skill set for it. So, So tell me, and now you're doing origination now, right?
Yeah.
And what's your favorite part about being an originator?
The relationships, like the people. So I was never a numbers girl, so in a million years saying I was going to be a banker would have never have been what I thought, right? Like hated math, ended up in sociology because I didn't want to take calculus in college.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. It's like the relationships that you get to start with your referral and your business partners. It's relationships with your clients. It's getting to know people, and it's like seeing them come back and watching their story of like they've had kids and they need a bigger house, or even just like the emotions of buying such a big house and it being such a big piece. Or, we've just like had those moments. I remember helping a vet one time, and he wrote us this handwritten letter afterwards and just like came in and cried because he thought he would never get one. I'm like, this is so cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And tell me how, I kind of want to just dive right in because I think there's a lot we can talk about. So tell me how you're using social media, like for your business. And I hate saying like using social media for your business, because I think we need to qualify it by how you're using social media for. Like, is your goal to get leads, or is it to develop those relationships like you were just talking
Yeah.
about. You know, like tell me a little bit about like what you're doing on social media and how it's quote unquote working or.
My thought process behind social media is how can I be like a value add, and that's to like business partners, but also like clients and leads. So what am I doing that I can add value? Because as a banker, it's really hard, right? Like a lot of times we're not getting the front end of clients coming in. We have to rely kind of on our business partners.
Yeah.
And I use it kind of as a tool to like teach and help grow other people's business, I guess. How do I add, like what kind of content can I bring that's appealing to people, that adds value, that's actually interesting,
right.
And then also just keeping my name top of people's mind. That's been the biggest thing. I remember when I first started in the industry, people knew I was in mortgage, but they would forget. And now it's like everyone kind of associates my name with that because they're seeing it just in the daily, and it's a mix between personal and professional.
Yeah.
So then when they think of me now, they just think mortgage. Like, oh yeah, you're a loan officer.
Yeah. How much of what you do on social media is personal versus business?
I would say it's probably 50-50.
Okay.
I think you were someone that taught me that, of doing kind of a mix, because I used to keep my business page separate and use it strictly for business.
Yeah.
And then keep my personal, and now I've realized I'm like, oh, people want to see you're a real human, right? Like,
oh, they totally
want to see your life,
well,
or they want
totally
to see
do. Yeah.
your cute friends or your nieces or whatever you're doing. So I rarely even use my personal like Instagram now. It's all on my business page of like what I'm doing or.
Well, and I know, and like, so for me, for example, I like being able to see both sides of you in that regard. You know, like I want to see when you're like on vacation and hang out with your friends just as much as I want to see like your mortgage videos and stuff that you do, you know, because I think it helps me, like you said, I mean, I literally feel this way personally, like it helps me see you more as an individual,
like humanizes
as a
me.
Human. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and we're in like the belly to belly business, right? So like we're in relationships. That's how you end up working with people at this point in your career. Like I want to work with people that I know and enjoy, and we can have like a true partnership.
Yeah.
So it's got to be people that you get along with, and people have to know you on a personal level. And that, I think social media kind of breaks that barrier if they can kind of get to know you. I've seen it happen in a lot of my relationships of, oh, we have similar interests, we're doing similar things.
Right.
Let's hang out, or let's get coffee, or that was a really neat video that you posted. I've had several people reach out to me of like, can you explain that more? Or
yeah.
Which
I think is so like Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, like it's all about attention, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that it's harder to keep people's attention when it's always business. Right?
It's boring.
It's boring. And so that's what I'm saying,
garbage.
like you lose people's attention to where you fall out of the algorithm because they're not as interested in what you're posting. Whereas if you mix it with business and personal, it's easier to keep people's attention, which means that you're going to show up more often in their news feed.
Yep. That's always my favorite. I'll post a video of me and my cute girlfriends, and Instagram will notify me that post is doing 90% better than any of my other posts. And I'm like, of course, well, like, not like interesting mortgage facts, but like, hey, here's three cute girls. And, like, thanks for the notification.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so funny. I know, I'm always, my clients I have a coaching client actually who's like, how come that, like, when I post something real estate specific, it does really poorly, but then I'll post a picture of my kids, and that always gets all these likes and shares and whatever. And I'm like, because people care about, like, that's what people actually care about that. Like, people are excited to see you at the zoo with your kids, and, like, it's easier for them to celebrate that.
Right.
And so, if anything, besides the humanizing part, and helping people like, oh, I'm a mom too, you know?
Yes.
It keeps the attention, which I think is really cool.
Well, that's still bringing them back to your page, right? Of they're seeing your cute kid and whatever your handle is or your other post, then they're like, oh yeah, and maybe they click on another one and see it, but I don't know. Keeping it human.
Yeah, I totally agree. What are some of the what are some of your favorite things to post on social media?
I try and do a mix. We've talked about doing like personal and professional. I think mortgage can be very boring.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
we'll just
hard,
come right out
right?
and say
Like,
that. Mortgage is boring.
People care about rates in the sense of they want to know that they're getting the best rate, right? But they don't necessarily care about the deep end of it.
Yeah.
So I am trying to post things just interesting about real estate in general, or things that I find fascinating.
Yeah.
That I think someone else would and be able to relate to me too. So
Yeah. I think that's good.
it's just always my focus is on trying to add like value, whether it's something cool about our city or something new and interesting that's going on, or I think I just posted something about the bridges being up Fleet Week, which I ended up getting stuck in.
By the way, I actually appreciated that post because I was like, I literally bookmarked it because I'm in Portland all the time, and I was like, I am not going to get caught.
The irony in it is that I did, because I ended up flying home from Seattle that Monday morning, and my 15-minute Uber took me an hour and a half because all the bridges were up. And I'm like, I was the one that posted that. Yeah. Like,
should have told your Uber driver.
I know, man. Sorry, buddy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what are some ways that you're seeing realtors that you work with do positively on social media? Like, what are some things that you think they're doing that's working?
I think one is just content in general. A lot of people aren't using it, which makes me nuts because it's free, right? It's direct to your sphere of like true people that know you and love you and support you. You know what I mean? You're not mass marketing and farming a neighborhood that has no idea who you are. Like, these are your friends who want to help and support you, and business people in your industry that they're seeing you. And even when you're like boosting posts in comparison to what you're paying for ads, it's so inexpensive.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's way cheaper to reach people on social media than to send a postcard.
Right.
You know?
And it's a video, it's you, it's people are understanding who you are, and you're able to add value and educate them. And
do all that nonverbal stuff as well.
Yeah.
That, you know, that's like them seeing you and seeing your face and seeing you excited or serious or whatever it is.
So one has been, I've worked with several agents just getting them to post regularly to get their name out there. I think that's been the biggest one. And then talking about, like, we've talked about this, of just like what we're doing in our daily jobs. We get a little bit jaded by what we do every day because we just don't even think about it, right? Of like when we have a cool client testimonial or something happened or interesting with a file or this really unique house. And seeing a lot of realtors go out and post like when they're doing an inspection, like what is an inspection, asking the inspector specific questions of why are you looking at that, what are you looking for, and people,
I love that, getting other people into it. Like, the inspector's right there,
use it,
and like you're and also like you'd be promoting his business, so he's and he's knowledgeable. It's like, it's just kind of like a no-brainer to me.
And a lot of people are a little intimidated by video. Like, they don't like to see themselves on film. So I'm like, if you are uncomfortable, get someone else. Like, film them, interview them. You know what I mean? Like, it's
totally.
Okay.
Yeah, get somebody else to do it. What are some of the big hangups that you see, like, that keep people from doing social media, and what's some advice you can give them to get past that?
I think fear and time are the two biggest ones. If everyone feels so busy that they don't have time, which it is. I mean, it takes time to manage social media accounts and make sure that you're getting content out, but it's not as time consuming as you think. Like, before, we had talked about too, I was like filming and had a green screen behind me and my banners in the video and taking the time to edit these, and I wasn't able to push videos out, and it was like this big ordeal. And finally I started just like throwing my phone up against my laptop and filming like wherever I am, and people love the videos, and I'm like, this is what it took of like taking 2 seconds on my iPhone versus paying someone hundreds of dollars to film.
It makes a huge difference.
And
just in speed and ease.
Speed, people relate. They're like, oh, you're a normal human, and guess what? Like, you did one of like, you know what? I've been telling people to film in public, and here I am, and it is really awkward. It is really.
I felt so awkward. Oh my god, it was so weird. I was sitting there, and it's like I have the camera on the I used to use my phone on the tripod on the trunk of my car that I parked like parallel on the street, and I'm just like, I seriously feel like there are 500 people staring at me right now.
There probably were.
There were probably none, but you feel literally you're like my whole body was squeamish. But the only way to get you can't get over that. You have to get past it or through it, right? Through repetition.
My biggest thing I learned with social media and in life in general was done is better than perfect. And I like keep preaching that I don't love every video I post. I don't love the way I look. I'm like have flyaways or I'm not wearing makeup. Yeah. But you are the only person that cares. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's so true. Like, and that's also how you would look if you were to meet a client in your office.
Right.
You're not, I mean, that's how you look that day, you know? And it's just relatable. Like,
someone actually told me, and it was really funny. They were like, if you don't like the way you look in video, guess what? That's what you look like in person. So, sorry, it's just being recorded. But, like, if you're a dork, you're a dork, right? Like, it's
totally.
Okay. Yeah.
I found that it's when I've tried to embrace that more, and it's actually made it easier for me.
Oh, I like call myself out in videos now. And I'm like, all right, no makeup. There's the train going by in the middle of filming something. Like, here we are. And people like the organicness of it, of just like, oh, that's you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm like, you've seen my videos. I'm weird.
Yes, but I love it. That's the thing, is I love him. Or he's like raw and is just like, Realtors, this sucks. Quit posting this. And I'm like, thank you. Yeah, that's how I felt.
Finally!
I just wasn't saying it, you know? So I think content and pushing things out, and then time. So I previously was struggling time of just like, when do I do it? Because I would have really great ideas and then be slammed that day.
Yeah, so how have you worked that out with the time thing?
Scheduling. I use a free scheduling app. So I know one of them is like quotes. I love quotes, and I hear quotes all the time in all of our meetings. And I'm like, oh, I want to post that. So I just know, like, I sit down on a Monday evening and I have like a notebook of ones I've written down, and I'll schedule out for the next 2 months to post once a week. So I know at minimum I have something going out once a week of something that I care about. And
then do you actually like schedule them, or do you just like, do you take that time and that Monday evening and actually schedule them out?
Yeah.
Do you do it on Facebook, or are you using like Buffer? Or?
I use Buffer, and I release everything to Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Okay, cool.
And it goes out all at once. And I don't do it for everything, right? Because there's certain videos where, like before, I was taking time to film them. But if it's something cool that's going on, like the Feds met, and I want to talk about it that day, like I'm putting it out that day because it's relevant.
Right.
But there are certain things like quotes or, I don't know, family hikes or things that I don't have to do like on a Wednesday, right? I can wait till the next Monday and like schedule things out to make sure that I'm posting regularly or saving the content.
So you put time, you literally have time blocked out on your schedule where you're sitting down at your computer, you're creating the graphics and stuff, and then you're putting it into Buffer, which Buffer basically is an online program that has slots. So like Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday at 10:13 a.m. it's going to post whatever's in the list.
Yeah, so I just scheduled out, like say I wrote down or made a graphic for a quote.
Yeah.
And today I'm inputting into Buffer, and I can say I want it to post on July 17th at 10 a.m.
Yep.
And it will post July 17th at 10 a.m. to Instagram, LinkedIn, and Instagram for me.
That's awesome.
So
we use Buffer for all of our clients, which is,
it's free.
Yeah, it makes it really convenient for sure. The free version, you can have one of each profile, which is perfect for...
That's all I need,
Yeah, which is perfect for most people.
Yeah.
You know? So, okay, cool. So that's helped with the time thing. And then what about, like, throughout the week, remembering to capture moments that are happening as they happen? I have Cody
actually, like, in the back of my head that is like, capture this right now, or I'll have to stop and be like, wait, I need a picture, I need a video for my social media. So it's just being cognitive of, I don't know how you start doing it, but you just have to kind of interrupt yourself and be like, oh no, like, this is a good opportunity, like, people would actually enjoy this. And rather than just going through your meeting, like, take a picture or a video of your meeting, explain what you're meeting about and why it's so neat and interesting.
I tell people, nothing is natural when you first start doing it.
No, it's really awesome.
So when you say like, I never remember to post to social media, well, of course you don't remember, because it's not a habit.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to consciously think of it. for a period of time before it becomes a habit. And so I tell people, like, set an alarm on your phone.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good idea.
Like, sit down at your desk in the morning or wherever and just look at your schedule for the day and be like, I have 2 meetings. They could be an opportunity for a photo or doing a video with somebody. I'm going to inspection.
Hey
right?
Siri, set an alarm for
Set an alarm for 2:45. Remind me to take a photo or take a video with the inspector.
Yep.
And then when you get up to the thing, like as you're driving there or when you get there, you get this notification or alarm on your phone that it prompts you.
Yep.
Right? Like if you don't remember to do it on your own, well, what happens when we don't remember to do something? We set a reminder for ourselves. So use that hack and do the same thing for social media as well. And then what happens is the more you do it, right, you are able to do it without the alarm.
That's me now. I think initially, like, I had to set time on Monday evenings because I knew it was quiet and I could come up with my ideas.
Yeah.
And I'm not as religious on my Monday evenings anymore, but I post just more regularly throughout the week because that's what I'm thinking about of, like, oh yeah, this is a good opportunity. And I found that people actually respect it. If you'll stop and say, like, oh, can we take a picture for my social media? They're like, yeah, actually, that's really cool. Tag me in it. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Where before I would feel a little bit, like,
a little
embarrassed
awkward
of, like,
hey.
Yeah.
Because I think it's almost like they're almost impressed that you are thinking about it enough to, like, make it a priority for yourself.
It reminds me of when you're, like, learning sales and you're taught to, like, ask for the referral and it feels a little awkward, but when you actually ask, people kind of respect it of, like, this is your job, this is how you get paid.
Yeah.
Same thing with social media, you know what I mean? Of people realize, like, oh, this is a platform for your business. And why wouldn't you? Like, that's a good idea. Yeah.
And also, like, if I'm tagging you in it or whatever, it's helping you.
Right.
Like, it's good for you too. Like, we're both getting...
And a lot of people aren't doing it for themselves. So if you're the one in the room doing it, you're helping kind of everyone of, like, hey, I got you. We only need one photo and we'll share it and it'll be great. Yeah. And reach so many more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super true. I've been rereading Gary Keller's book, The One Thing.
He's amazing.
Which is such a good book.
Rockstar.
And he talks in it about, discipline is hard and willpower and discipline are a finite resource.
Yeah.
And so you have to have discipline for a short amount of time until something becomes habit.
Yeah.
So the book says, like, it's an average of, like, 66 days. There was this, like, 21-day mantra that used to be going around, but they've done a lot of actual studies, and the average is 66 days is how long it takes for something to become habitual for somebody.
Yeah.
So if you're not good at social media, know that you need 2 months of discipline and of reminders and of execution before it becomes something that's going to be more innate.
Well, and one thing I did for myself and what I teach a lot of my agents is to, like, start small, right? Like, with any goal.
Yeah.
Of maybe you're not, like, if you're not posting now, posting every single day of the week or 5 times a week is not realistic. Like, it's a great goal, but are you really going to do it? And then if you don't do it, you're going to feel like a failure. So I always suggest, I'm like, if you're not posting, start once a week. Right?
Yeah.
Like, baby steps here of just make yourself, like, no, on a Monday, like, you're going to film and this is your time. And then once you feel comfortable with that and you've kind of gotten in the habit, it's 2 or 3 times a week and kind of just rolling it out.
Yeah. I think that's a great one with time. A great one I found with content is when people say, like, I don't know what to post or I feel weird about it or whatever. I've been telling people, start with stories because they're so much more chill. Yeah. Like, a story can be literally anything. You don't have to, like, set up the shot. It doesn't have to look really good. Like, you can take a random photo and add all kinds of stuff on it. And I think it makes it more fun too. Yeah. So, like, I've been telling people who aren't, like, used to it, I'm like, start with just a story. Yeah. Just do stories. And just do, like, 1 story a day, like, is all you have to do.
Yeah.
And, like, I think you can do something really, really simple like that, and it can make a big difference.
Yeah. Your biggest advice to me was just doing of, like, in my daily life, like, things I don't even think about when I have, like, a cool conversation with a borrower of, like, stop and take 5 minutes after that phone call and plop your phone up and say, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I just had this question and I get asked this all the time, and there's other people that are probably curious about it too. Here's the answer.
That's a big one. Is like, get in your, like, okay, I get out of a meeting, get in your car, and instead of just driving away, turn on your camera, 3 minutes, post it, then drive away.
Yep.
Right?
I've just taken the time right afterwards.
Super easy. Like, like, I always tell people, like, it's basically function over form.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people say, like, oh, form over function, and that's kind of the colloquialism that we use for a lot of things. But with social media, like, it's all about done is better than perfect, like you said. And it's getting out the information is way more important than it looking perfect, you know, you being exactly the right angle with the exact right lighting. You learn that stuff by doing. Like, the more you do stuff, the more you learn.
That's true.
And you get better with each iteration. Like, this video is way better than my first video, you know?
Now I want to go watch the first one.
I will show it to you. It is hella bad.
I look even on my like feed now. I'll scroll to the very end and look, and I'm like, oh my god, like, should I delete this?
That's
stuff?
So that's actually one of my favorite things to do. Is I go to somebody's Instagram profile and I'm like, man, they're doing a really great job. You know, like, their photos look great, their videos look great. I love, like, scrolling all the way back because they get real bad real quick.
Mine was bad to start, to
everybody's was. That's the way it works.
But that's like a fear of us as like humans, is we hate starting something that we're not good at and then showing the world, like, hey, I'm a novice at this.
You want to wait till you get good and then start. But the problem is, it's a catch-22 because you can't get good until you start.
Yeah.
Like, you have to start. You have to get through the bad.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, if you want to wait to do social media till you get good, you're never going to get good.
I think I actually respect people more, though, when I can go back and watch how much they've grown. Or even when they're really awkward in a video and I know they're trying, I'm like, yeah.
Absolutely. Like, and that's like worth a comment, or like sending them a private message and being like, hey, like, awesome job on the video today. Keep up the good work, you know? Like, it's funny how a big thing that I preach with social media is not only putting out the content, but engaging with other people's content. I think that's actually 50% of being on social media.
Yeah.
Because you have said it multiple times that you notice and you remember and you love when people reach out for additional questions or to say hey, or to, even when we get comments on stuff, we're like, somebody commented on my video. Yes. It's not just going into the ether.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you can be someone that people like, that can give that to other people, like, you comment on my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me from time to time, like, it's seriously like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And so, but that's the exact point. Like, it encourages me to keep going because I know that not only are you looking at my content, but you're sharing it with other people that I know are also seeing it, even if they're lurking in the background, even if they're not even liking it, like, even if I have no idea that they're actually engaging with my content.
That's still like the top of mind thing that we're talking about, though, of like, I've probably spent the last couple of years, I focused more on social media, and it's been really interesting to see that people now really associate my name with mortgage. And I'm like, you guys, I've been doing this for 6 years, and now this is like, it took posting,
and now you
posting on social media. That's what I was missing this whole time. I was like, okay.
So I think I love, like, these little hacks that you've kind of created for yourself. I think that makes such a big difference. Like, it helps so much with social media.
When I think I was in high school, and one of our math professors had an acronym, and it was KISS, Keep It Simple Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think about that now. So it's like, rather than writing my hashtags out each and every time, it's like I just have it saved in my notes and I re-edit it over and over of like adding whichever ones, but I'm not retyping everything out every time I need to do it.
Yeah.
Using Buffer as like a scheduler.
Yeah.
Or even not having to, using it simply because I don't want to go to each website and post it, and I can post it once there and it goes to all three.
So great.
You know what I mean? And just figuring out like, all right, how do I make it easier? Rather than going and taking all this, I mean, the camera is nice, but you know what I mean, packing everything, it's like just plopping my phone up any and everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and this for me, like, I like video and video editing. Like, so this, buying all this equipment and all this shit, I don't need it. I like it because it's, it brings it, I'm inner Marie Kondoing right now, you know. Like, I am going to keep this. It brings me joy.
See? He's going to edit it tonight with his glass of wine and just hang out. It's going to be the best Friday night ever.
So like, this, but I don't need that. And I still film plenty on my iPhone.
Yeah.
Like, probably actually more than 50% of my stuff is filmed on my iPhone. And I have 2 cameras that both cost over $1,000 each.
Yeah.
You know?
But that was my hack of just realizing I don't need anything fancy.
My phone shoots in 4K. This camera that we're filming on now doesn't. Like, I mean, you know.
Well, that was also probably $1,000.
Well, yeah, absolutely it was.
Thanks, Apple.
Thanks, Apple. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, there you go.
So you said something really interesting a few minutes ago, though, which was you posting on social media. Now people are associating you with mortgage.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that there's this misconception that there's a direct correlation that I post these things on social media. People are going to say, I saw your video on Facebook and now I want to buy a house.
Right.
Right? It's like that people think it's a linear progression.
I mean, I have had, right, like, so I posted a video on, I don't know, down payment or something like that, and someone slid into my DMs and was like, hey, I actually want to buy a house, but that's happened 2 or 3 times in 2 years, right? Like, there is hardly ever a direct correlation of, like, I saw your video and now I want to refinance.
Yeah.
But it's getting
it's the sum total, right?
Yes. Of people just understand now of like, oh, this is what you do and this is who you are, and mixing it. Like, I think a lot of people are misinterpreting their pages and they're doing like a business one and it's solely business, and guess what? Like, people stop following you because they don't care about mortgage or real estate all the time. They don't live, eat, and breathe it like we do. So having the mix of
and that's actually one thing that's been a little interesting for me, because I have my personal Instagram and then I have Luminary Agent. Yeah. But the difference for me is the stuff that I do, first of all, I'm B2B, right? Yeah. And realtors are 100% all the time interested in what I do. Yes. You know? Yeah. So like, I can only post stuff on Luminary Agent that is real estate and mortgage marketing related, and it's always going to be applicable to them. Yes. Whereas with real estate and mortgage, it's only applicable like every 5 years. Right. Yeah. You know? Like, there's stuff that's applicable in between there. Yeah. You know? But for the most part, it's just about keeping that relationship going and posting stuff that doesn't have to do with real estate.
But I think social media is a good platform. It's like a surface level relationship, right? Yeah. So it's like you get comfortable and more familiar with someone. Yeah. But to go deeper, like, eventually you have to take it to the next level, right? Yeah. Like, you're meeting in person or you're having a conversation or you're picking up the phone, but it's like an icebreaker of, oh, hey, I feel familiar with you now. I know who you are.
And even with your past clients, you can't solely rely on one medium to stay in touch with them. No. Like, they're just like people, like, maybe they have a great email newsletter, but they don't do anything with social media. Right. You're going to be missing a lot of people. Yep. And so you can't just do social media and not also pick up the phone and make your quarterly phone calls or still meet past clients for coffee. Like, that stuff is still important.
Social media isn't this like magical unicorn that all of a sudden you start posting.
But everybody thinks it is. Everybody thinks it is, you know?
It's like one facet of of what it takes. It's still the personal notes. It's still the face-to-face and the belly-to-belly.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, now there's this other form of communication, and you got to use it, right? Like, you have to adapt your business.
And here's the cool thing is when you're active on social media, not only when you're posting, but when you're also engaging with your clients, when you do make your quarterly calls, you know so much more about what's been going on in their life. Yeah. It's so much easier to make those phone calls and be like, hey, I saw so-and-so just graduated. Like, are you so proud? Are they going to college? Like, what's their next steps? You get to engage about the stuff in their life that they care about.
Yeah, you already have that buffer. I actually have an agent that when she does her calls, she pulls up her client's Facebook page. So for the last 2 weeks, she can see, she's like, it makes it more personable because I'm looking at their picture. So it's like I'm visiting with them. Yeah. And then for the last, 2 weeks, I can kind of scroll and see that Jenny graduated high school, or, oh my gosh, you got a new puppy. And it's something engaging to ask.
Or you don't want to like come barreling in like, hey, how's it going? It's so good to see you. And like their dog died yesterday.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So it also provides that context, which is so key. Yeah. But you're using it as a tool for other things. Yeah. Which I don't know. Like you said, I think a lot of people think it's a magical unicorn. It's that not. Like I just need Facebook and it's going to replace all these other things. It doesn't. But it's an inexpensive way to augment everything else that you're already doing. Yes,
it's a tool, right? Like we don't just have one tool that fixes everything. We have like a tool belt, and so this is part of it. But it's a pretty good one. It's a pretty good one.
It's a pretty good one. Okay, so I like what we've talked about so far. We've talked about time, and we've talked about tell me, I want to dive a little bit deeper into the content part though, because I think that people, they don't actually comprehend and understand what we mean when we say like just document what's going on in your day.
Yeah.
So like what are some examples of some stuff that not only that you post yourself, but that you've seen like your realtor partners post that you've been like, this is great stuff.
Yeah. I keep saying like value, and I think that's our job in the real estate business of it's hard to distinguish ourselves, right? Of like, why am I going to go with you as an agent or you as an agent?
You all sell vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry ice cream.
Right. Or, there's a lot of online companies, lenders, and real estate teams that are listing at 1% or, no lender fees or, the discount ones. So you have to figure out like how you're going to add value. So I'm always thinking about that. One I did was on taxes when Oregon, and we have kind of a funky tax year, right? It ends June 30th, starts July 1st. They come out in October and they're due mid-November. Like, what is that? It's an old farming thing. And when you have an escrow account, you still get a tax bill, right? And so all of our clients every year, I remember like one year it happened and I was like, oh my gosh, we don't even think about this, that they still get a tax bill, but it's being collected in their monthly payment.
Yep.
So I filmed a video on like what it means when you get a green letter and what it means when you get a yellow letter in Oregon of, meaning that your lender has requested it and you're just getting a notice of what your bill is, but you're not actually responsible for paying it.
Yeah.
And I had so many people that were like, I wish I would have known this when I first bought a house, or thank you for the reminder of saving me a heart attack.
Yeah.
And just thinking about that, or like we've said, like getting off the phone and having a client thinking that they had to do 20% down and posting about like, you know what, you only like 3 or we have 100% financing.
What about it's like an idle Tuesday and all I have is like, I'm doing some paperwork for some clients and I may be gonna like go preview a property and then my kids get out of school early, so I'm gonna go pick them up. Like I talk to clients all the time, my coaching clients. I'll be like, tell me about what's going on Tuesday. Let's find something to post. And they'll tell me that exact scenario. And then they'll say, I have nothing going on.
You're like, well, you do actually, right? Like what kind of paperwork are you going through? What is a purchase agreement? Why are you signing this? Where are you inputting stuff? What is earnest money? How does that work? People, you know what I mean? There's all of these things that we forget that the general public who aren't in the industry don't know what it is, and it's interesting to them. My favorites are, especially from realtors, of them just posting about what they're doing in general, of like, tour of homes on Tuesdays. What is a Tuesday broker tour? Check out this house. This is the builder. The inspections. When you run into problems on a transaction or difficulties or negotiating or why you're negotiating or why that's a strong point. It's easy. You just have to start thinking about it as far as like, why is this interesting? How could I post this? How can I make this into content? Right? Like every day of thinking.
I had a client do a video recently. She was touring a property and she just turned on her camera holding it and she said, this is why Zillow can be so incorrect, is because this house is listed as a 3-bed 2-bath, but if you'll notice, I'm in this dank dark basement right now and there is a bedroom down here, but it doesn't have a closet. It's the part of the only finished space in the basement. There is a bathroom down here, but you have to walk through the rest of the unfinished basement to get to it, and then it's like this funky kind of makeshift bathroom. Like this is not the same as a real 3-bed 2-bath house where maybe all 3 beds and 2 baths are on the upper floor or on the upper 2 floors, you know? And first of all, she was adding value there. She was talking about something that people wonder about. And then she was literally at the place to show what she was talking about. You know? It was awesome. And she even told me that video, that she got a lot of like engagement and comments and people telling her that they liked it. And then we have a lot of mutual colleagues in the industry, and they were even telling me that they saw that video that she did, and I was like, hell yeah. It was like such a proud dad moment. You know what I mean?
I have that a lot when I have agents that start posting and I'm just like,
my babies.
I know, you're just growing up and
they're all grown up. That's funny. I love that. So what is one like tip? If you could give somebody like any tip, what would be like the one tip that you would tell them to get them off the fence and start making social media a part of their everyday life?
That is always for me, that done is better than perfect, of just getting it out there. And I promise it gets better and it gets easier. And people always think too, like when I post that, they're like, it was such a great video and you're just a natural on camera. And I'm like, you don't realize that I did that 15 times because I stuttered on my words. And that's the one that I chose to post. It still took me only 10 minutes, right? But it's like starting over. And you get the one that I'm not like, you know, mumbling my words and you can actually understand what I'm saying. So
for sure.
It's easy to judge and think that that person is so great at it or they're a natural. And it's like, actually, no. Sometimes I have to give myself a little pep talk of like, all right, put on your smiley face because if you're just chatting into the camera, it's a little monotone and boring. So
my coach taught me this thing where he says when you're feeling like anxious or hung up about something, he said just count down from 5 and then clap. So he says do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, clap, and then just do the thing. And it actually works. Because it just gets you out. You're like, clap, go.
But I think I kind of do that when I start filming. It's like I set it up and I'm just like, okay, like, you know what I mean? I know I have to push this out and I have 10 minutes and I said I would do it today and I made a promise to myself.
And here's the coolest thing. You can record it. If you hate it, you record it again. Nobody has to see that one exact video that you recorded.
But bloopers are funny, okay?
Oh, they're so good. Yeah, I totally agree.
I've even filmed videos, though, that I look back on and I'm like, oh, that was terrible. And I don't post them. I'm like, no. I'll find something else.
Yeah, and legitimately sometimes that's the case.
Yeah.
You know? But done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
For like 100%, and especially when you're starting out. I think that's...
And people respect it. Like, that's the thing, too, is I remember when I first started, it was just like I felt so much pressure to have it 100%. And... the power of vulnerability when you're not perfect, it actually inspires other people to take chances and to do it themselves. So
watch Brene Brown on Netflix and then get your go on with your video. Well, Kat, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
chatting with us. I am super excited to get this episode out. Where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, I am kind of all over. So my name is Kat or Caitlin Jerger. You can just search for me, and I should come up. There's not very many cats with a C in the world, so I think it's Caitlin Kat Jerger is my mortgage is my handle.
Caitlin Kat Jerger Mortgage with periods in between.
Yes, you have to separate it. I'm a nut. Yeah, a CD.
Other people, otherwise it's hard to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And hashtags, that's my big pet peeve is when people don't capitalize their hashtags. Because I'm always trying to guess of what it says.
Oh, when they do like a funny run-on-one.
I'm like, can we just capitalize it all so I can see the breaks?
Yep.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
Yeah. So.
When they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Hashtag.
Yeah. Well, so, yeah.
Cool.
Follow me. And,
follow. Because she's got great video content. She's got great content in general. And she's a great person who's just like doing it and is not thinking about it. So
just
if you need some inspiration, you know where to go. Thanks. So yeah, thanks so much for being on the show and appreciate it very much.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Clap.